All right, everybody. Welcome back again to another episode of Total Speculation. I'm that one NFL guy. We're on that one NFL channel on YouTube. With me, you already know, we got Knipe, our very own McLovin. One word, no spaces. You get it, all right? Listen, guys, it is draft season, okay? A time where you can tell yourself it's going to be different this time. This is the guy we need. This is the one piece to finally get us where we want to go. It's the season where everybody is optimistic and we all love it. Everybody walks away a winner, except not really. But before we get into the draft and the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, there's a lot of shit going on there. Let's just take a moment. All right, let's take a moment to appreciate our very own Trent Baalke, okay? Came from San Francisco. He's in Jacksonville. And guess what, guys? The real Josh Allen got paid. Yes, I said it. The other guy is just a knockoff, all right? Every time Josh Allen goes up against Josh Allen, you know what happens? Josh Allen puts Josh Allen on his fucking ass, all right? And he doesn't know what hit him. This Jacksonville Jaguars team is a juggernaut when it comes to facing them. And the main reason is because our Josh Allen wants to be the real Josh Allen. Got $141.25 million, 76.5 fully guaranteed, 88 basically guaranteed is what it says. I don't really know what that means. So fully guaranteed versus basically guaranteed. I don't know. But all I know is guy's making a shit ton of money. All right. And he deserves it. This is the third year in a row that Trent Baalke has tagged somebody and then later gotten the deal done. Now, I will say, would have been nice if we would have got this one done early, because then maybe we could have kept Ridley, because we obviously are still in need of a wide receiver. But hey, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. Maybe Josh Allen didn't want to get a deal done till after Brian Burns, because you already know how it is. The next guy to get paid gets paid more, okay? And that's just what it is. So congratulations to you, Josh Allen. You freaking deserve it, all right? And then one last thing before we get into the draft. All right. And you already know, man, these quarterbacks, they just never stop talking. All right. Even the ones that aren't playing anymore. So I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to take a listen to what Cam Newton has to say about Kirk Cousins and the extension that he got. All right. Let's just take a listen.
What the
here.
Falcons paid Kirk Cousins. They could have got Cam Newton, Justin Fields, and Michael Vick for that price.
You do realize they could have gave up 2 first rounders and got Lamar Jackson for.
But we're not talking about that. And I'm not saying that to shame Kirk Cousins. My take personally was Cam's getting old. He ain't getting no younger. He's 32 at the time. He's coming off a shoulder injury, Liz Frank. Cool. All things that are not quote unquote serious injuries.
They're not career ending.
Career ending. If you tore your Achilles back when you was playing, you're done.
Yeah. You're never the same player.
So now you're giving this person the money coming off an injury. So how am I supposed to feel? Because the same questions and the same concerns that you had with me, obviously you done overlooked that.
You see, don't have those concerns with him.
And if you give Kirk Cousins my resume, he probably would have got more. But I'm tripping. But I'm bitter. But I'm mad. I'm not. I'm just exposing the truth. And it's for you to digest it however you feel.
All right. A lot to digest there. All right. First of all, let's just start with this question. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins right now, or I'll give you Cam Newton, I'll give you Michael Vick, and I'll give you Justin Fields, all three of them, or Kirk Cousins? Which one you taking?
I mean, yeah, I'm taking Cousins. I mean, I would take Fields for fun, but like if I was being serious, I wanted to actually like try and win football games every Sunday. I'll take Kirk Cousins. Like Dude, Cam just sounds like a freaking fool, man. Yeah, that he's tripping, bro. I don't know.
Well,
Does he
here's
like?
my thing. Here's my thing. This is why the situations aren't really comparable. Look at how they play football, okay? Kirk Cousins, yeah, he's coming off an Achilles injury. My man is a pocket passer. My man does not run the ball. That's not part of his game. So, yeah, Achilles hurts a lot of running backs, like the number one killers of Achilles, I believe. But quarterbacks, I mean, if you're not a running quarterback, like I would expect an Achilles injury, like you're going to be fine afterwards. I mean, it's not like that's what you do. So that part of it also doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to be honest. He said, Cam's just salty. Cam's just bitter. Yes, you are. And that's exactly what it sounds like to me. It sounds like a guy that is not over the fact that the NFL is done with you. And I'm sorry, Cam, you had great years, man. And the only part of the statement that I agree is that if he had Cam Newton's accolades, if Kirk Cousins had an MVP under his belt, if Kirk Cousins had made a Super Bowl and lost in that Super Bowl, I think he probably would have gotten paid more. I do agree with that part of his statement, but everything else is just kind of ridiculous. It's just really on some haterade shit that's just like, well, he shouldn't have got paid because when I got hurt, shit went downhill for me. Yeah, because you literally were a running quarterback, a power running quarterback, okay? And between you and Ron Rivera, you ran yourself into the ground, buddy. And I'll give you the refs and give you any fucking favors, okay? Because Cam Newton is like, if I was Cam Newton, I'd sue the refs, okay? Because the refs, dude, they call a completely different game if Cam Newton's on the field versus another quarterback. They would let people freaking annihilate Cam because he's a big guy. But that's ridiculous because a quarterback is a quarterback, so you should treat them all the same. But listen, we're going to move on. I just had to point that out because ridiculous shit of the day. Cam Newton over here bitching about Kirk Cousins getting paid. And now we got one more thing. And listen, guys, brace yourselves because this is scary shit right here, okay? This isn't just like we're clowning around. Like this is like, dude, we're on notice and we need to really, really tread carefully here because shit's getting dangerous. Let's take a look at what Tom Brady recently said.
One day there's a situation, right? Maybe it's the 49ers, maybe heading to the playoffs. Offense is great.
Patriots,
somebody
Raiders, could be. You never know.
God forbid somebody goes down. Would you pick up that phone?
I'm not opposed to it. If they would, I don't know if they're going to let me if I become an owner in an NFL team, but I don't know if, I don't know. I'm always going to be in good shape. Always be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit, like MJ coming back, I don't know if they let me, but I wouldn't be opposed.
Guys, can we please hurry up approving this man's ownership? Can we make it impossible for Brady to come back? Because listen, if Brady came back, I would cry. I'm done. We're done, Tom. Knock it off. Move on with your life. You just signed a $300 million deal at Fox, and you still want to fuck around? Pretend like we did this twice with you already. We're not doing it a third time, buddy. And I'm going to let you know right now, it doesn't matter if Tom Brady's 55 years old. I don't want him on the field. He scares me. He is greatness, and we can't handle another one. We already are dealing with Pat right now, okay? Now you want to throw Pat and Tom back in here? No. End that shit. Approve his ownership. Give it to him for free. Whatever it takes to keep this man off the field.
Yeah, see, that's where we're different, man, because, what Tom Brady wants to come to the Niners for a run real quick.
Come on, you're not happy with Brock? Jesus, he got you to a Super Bowl in his second year.
You don't say no to Tom Brady ever. So yeah, I would be super happy to have Tom Brady as my playoff quarterback. Are you serious? You kidding me?
But would it even work? I mean, it's
what do you mean?
It'd probably work. I just think because if he comes in if he's coming in right before the playoffs, you got to learn the playbook and shit. But I mean, Tom is something special.
Dude,
so
I guess you're
right.
From the stands, and I'll be excited about it. You kidding me, dude?
All right, you're right. Okay, you're right. Okay, Jesus Christ. All right, you're right. All right, you're fucking right. I don't know what else to say. Okay, Let's move on. Let's just pretend like Tom didn't say that, and let's hope that whole thing just blows over.
That won't
and
happen.
no NFL team was listening. All right. All right. Now it's time. It's the time we've all been waiting for. The time we've been cooking up for like what? Last month and a half. It is draft talk season, baby. And we're going to stick with the quarterbacks because you already know the quarterbacks are going to be at the top of this year's draft. It would not be surprising at all if the first, I'm going to say 4 picks. I think 5 would be pushing it, but the first 4 picks could easily be quarterbacks. And I don't think anybody would blink an eye. So we're going to go ahead and rank the top 5 quarterbacks. All right. I'm going to start. Okay. Now I think it's pretty obvious Caleb Williams should be 1. My man has been a top recruit since he was in high school. He really has never underperformed. Sure, his team didn't make the playoffs, which I feel like a lot of people try to hold against him. But, I mean, the defense was the problem. That dude scores points. So, for me, I'm keeping him at the top, all right? And then number 2, I'm going Jaden Daniels, all right? He's a Heisman winner, okay? And on top of that, he's just coming off of a great year. There's a lot of Drake May buzz, but I don't know. When I watch Drake May's film, I just don't see it like I do Jaden McDaniels, all right? Or Jaden Daniels. He just doesn't look as polished of a player. He looks like somebody that has that pure talent, that Josh Allen, the fake one, like his type of skill set coming out of college. Just like, hey, he's big, he's strong, he can throw the ball really far. He's got the intangibles, if you will, all the tools in the toolbox. He just needs to refine them, and I think it's hard. It's hard to do that. You really, for that kind of quarterback, you need to be in the right situation. You need to be somewhere where you can grow, low pressure. Nobody's going to be on your ass if you're not immediately great. So I'm going Jaden Daniels to, man, and honestly, people aren't going to like this. This is going to sound like clickbait, okay? But I'm just not a Drake May guy. I'd put Penix at 3. I know McCarthy has been getting a lot of hype, and I honestly understand why people would be hesitant on Penix, all right? But if you look at his actual quarterback play, dude has great ball throwing skills. Like, he might have the prettiest ball out of the whole group when it's in the air. The biggest concern with him, and what I think really holds him back, is his injury history, because he's been injured year after year. He's a little bit older, but hey, Joe Burrow was older too. Joe Burrow was like 24 when he was coming into the NFL, and that worked out great. So I think Penix has a better shot, honestly, than Drake May. We'll see. Maybe I'll eat those words, because I also said the same thing about Josh Allen. I didn't think Josh Allen was a first-round talent when he was coming out, and look at how that turned out. But I'm putting Penix there. Then I'll put Drake May, okay, for the physical skills. And then J.J. McCarthy. I'm leaving Bo Nix out of the top 5. I'm sorry, but to me, Bo Nix isn't even a first-round quarterback. Like, I know that everybody goes crazy trying to trade up, but I don't think that's going to be the case for Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix will be like a second-round quarterback that somebody takes a chance on after he slips, somebody that couldn't provide the draft capital to actually move up. Can I go ahead and give me your top 5?
Yeah, so I mean, we're pretty much the same. I mean, you have to go Caleb 1. I don't know who was in their right mind would actually like watch like at least all the highlights, all the film. You know, not all the film, but at least what's out there to the general public. Like, yeah, Caleb Williams is the dude. And then I'm gonna say I've liked Michael Penix since day one, and like I've watched plenty of Jaden Daniels, and he's never. I mean, yeah, he's obviously won the Heisman and all that fun stuff, but I don't know. He just doesn't pop off the screen to me. He doesn't seem like he's gonna make a difference in the NFL. Like. I think he's not going to be anything super duper special. I really don't. I'm going to go Michael Penix number 2, bro. I know you said clickbait, with him being a 3, but I'll take him second if I was an actual NFL GM. I like the way he throws the ball, and I don't think he's going to like last super long in the NFL because, like you said, the injury history. But if we're actually just taking like day one, the best case scenario, like if he did stay healthy, I think that he would be a better passer of the football for an NFL team. And he has a more like better upside, I guess. You know what I mean? I think Jaden Daniels' ceiling isn't that high. I think Michael Penix's ceiling is like Lamar Jackson-ish. Not running like him, but like he could be that type. Like a playoff guy. He's talked about as a good quarterback amongst the league. You know what I mean? Like that kind of reputation. So I'm gonna put him at 2. I'll take Jaden Daniels though at 3 because he's still a good quarterback. He's not like he's terrible. He's a fucking Heisman winner for a reason. And then I don't know what I think May and McCarthy are both kind of a joke. I think May, McCarthy, and Nix are just all a blob of whatever. Like I don't get the obsession with them. I really don't. Like, they just look like backups, in my opinion. Like, they look like they're about to be backups. Nothing really. I would honestly do. I would rather take Spencer Rattler and put him at 4 because at least to me he has.
Oh, come on,
Dude,
Jesus!
He has the ceiling to get above those guys. Like, I mean,
I strongly disagree with that.
Okay, well, I mean, I watched a 7th rounder be the quarterback of my team. Anything's fucking possible at this point. So, I'm gonna say Spencer Rattler has a better chance to have a better career than those guys.
He is a popular sleeper pick, but listen, my man has been given way too many chances at this point. Like Spencer Rattler is just like, to me, he's just like a legend of talent. Like that guy that was supposed to be really good, but just didn't quite end up being that good. I can't put him in the top 5. With Penix, it's interesting because, he's really he's been a straight up pocket passer. Like since he's been in college, has never really been a rusher. But when he did his pro day, my man is actually really fast. He was like a 4.5 guy, and I was really shocked to see that. I believe that was his 40. That was 4.5, 4.6, something like that. Now Jaden Daniels, I do think Jaden Daniels has the higher upside because he's a rusher. But I only bring up Penix's speed because I think it could be something where like maybe he didn't rush in college, but he ends up rushing in the NFL more, and people are shocked when he's actually like a good rusher. He ran a 4.51, 4.57. But let me pull up his rushing stats really quick, because it is crazy how little he rushed last year. Last year, my man had 8 rushing yards. 8 rushing yards. So pretty crazy when you think about it. But I just point that out because the NFL is hard, man. And sometimes people, they start off not being rushers, but then they get in the NFL and it's really hard to complete a pass, and they're like, okay, I'm going to lean on my legs a little bit. Like Tua never ran in college, never. But his first few years in the NFL, if it was open, Tua was running because, why not, right? Now, listen, I do agree. Like, I think we're both on the same page with Caleb Williams being the top guy. He gets some hate, though. I'll say that. Like, there are people where they just, like, I feel like he's, like, the most, like, prey on his downfall type of prospect in a long time. Like, Greg McElroy saying he has not faced any adversity, which I'm like, honestly, Caleb Williams shouldn't have even responded to it. He did. He pointed out all the things you see right there on the post. Like, that's not his direct post, but that's basically what he said. They didn't start, popped his hamstring, and had a 7-5 record the last year. He's faced adversity. I mean, the adversity is the defense that he's dealing with, okay? Because my man can put up 50 and still lose a game. That's an issue. All right. That is an issue. My man is scoring every single time. But somehow the defense is giving up more. It's tough. He had that one game. There was like one game where he underperformed. He threw some picks, a couple pick sixes. But other than that one game, I mean, he's been real consistent. I really don't see how you can hate on him as a prospect. And look, he is going to the perfect situation. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. I think any of those quarterbacks in Chicago, like whoever Chicago drafts, that is the guy that has the best chance of succeeding. If they, for some reason, which they're not going to, if they for some reason passed on Caleb Williams, whoever they took, and I had to place a bet on who ends up being successful, who's still a starter in 10 years, I'm picking whoever plays for Chicago because they're just so well set up with the receivers they got, the run game, the improved offensive line, the extra draft picks they still have in this year's draft. Whoever is the quarterback for the Chicago Bears is the most set up for success. And the NFL, I feel like we've seen in history, it's not all about you. It's about like where your mental state is going to be after you get fucked up, getting thrown out there with no offensive line, shitty receivers. Like if you're getting picked first overall, you're normally going to a crappy situation. This is one of the few times where that is not the case. And good on him. I think it's going to work out there. Now let's talk about another quarterback that's not in this year's draft, but you know, he's pretty hyped up, and that's Shedeur Sanders, all right? Deion's kid over at Colorado. He had a great year this past year. Another team where the offensive line there sucked, the defense sucked, but he did his thing. Him and Travis Hunter both balled out. Deion Sanders already said, like, listen, next year when both of them come out to the draft, we're not just letting any team draft them, all right? We'll pull an Eli Manning because we are going to a good situation. We're not fucking these kids up. is basically what Dion says. But what I do wonder, though, because I feel Dion and Shedeur strategically did not go into the draft this year because they knew the talent level at quarterback that was coming out. And so that just makes me wonder, if Shedeur Sanders did come out in this year's draft, where would you put him? Like where would you slot him in with this year's crop?
I mean, if I'm a GM, I'm picking upside, dog. So I'm gonna have to put him at number 2. I'll bump Penix back to number 3, and then Jaden Daniels after that. Like that would be a crazy top 4. Like to me, like those 4 guys right there, like those can be actual, like, you know, the 10-year guys, like you said. I think that those guys can actually be the franchise quarterbacks for whatever team they go to. They might not be like the, you know, playoff contenders every year or anything, but I think they can all be successful. But I think Shedeur would be right behind Caleb. I mean, you take Caleb no matter what. Like Caleb to me is like the most no-brainer like prospect. And that's just like you're taking him, you know what I mean? But after that, Shedeur to me has the upside to beat Michael Penix and to beat Jaden Daniels, and give me the upside, man.
Okay.
I'm curious if Dion wants him to be a Cowboy that bad, like because I mean Dak didn't sign his extension yet, but.
Never know. I mean, I think like right now it's going to be interesting because I actually can't think of another quarterback prospect for next year's draft. So he's set up very nicely. Like he could easily be the top quarterback choice, which that would be tough for Dallas because, I mean, even if it didn't work out with Dak, I mean, are they going to be that high in the draft next year? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the whole quarterback draft ends up not being that popular, but I think I would have to put him 3rd. I still don't think I'm going to put him over Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels won a Heisman. Okay. I mean, my man, like you look at the numbers. I mean, he balled. Okay. He balled and he did really good last year too. Obviously, it was a massive jump up, but he still performed really well the year prior. So I'm going to leave Jaden Daniels at 2, but I will slide him at 3 for the upside, like you said. But I also think Shedeur, I feel like he has a high bust factor because listen, I don't want to be one of those guys like bad character. I don't think that about Shedeur, but I do think there's some immaturity there. Just some of the things that he says, and the way he talks about himself sometimes, it just feels like he's a little, he takes that step from confident to like cocky almost. And there was like a comment that he made where he was like, man, everybody's doubted me. Nobody believed in me. Bro, you are Deion Sanders' son, my guy. Nobody is out here fucking being like, Shedeur, look at him. Little small ass boy. Ain't nobody doing that, bro. Not a single person. You went to a private school, dude. Don't act like the world is against you right now. Your father has been able to put you in the best training facilities since you were a little baby boy. You are not facing that level of adversity. Stop it. Stop it with that bullshit. All right. That's the kind of stuff that just kind of makes me knock him a little bit. But he's a good talent. Like he's got high upside. I think he's a lot better than he was given credit for. Obviously, because he's been following his dad around and everything. But it should be interesting to see where he ends up next year as well. All right. Obviously, this year, the noise that has been going on about who could possibly trade up. I think there is quite a few teams that are going to be looking to move, and we're just going to kind of take a look at the teams. Okay, this is very unorganized, I guess, if you will. I'm just going to kind of pull up the draft order and just take a look and see who we think. All right, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to just name out the obvious ones. Okay, we know the Vikings are looking to trade up. Their top quarterback right now is Sam Darnold. There's no way they want that to be the case. And I'm blanking on I can't ever pronounce his name, the GM for them. But they asked him like how many of he sounds like he is interested in multiple quarterbacks this year. It's hey, whatever we can get. It's going to be I'm really interested to see what haul people are going to bring in. And I mean, Arizona, I know that they could use like a Marvin Harrison Jr., but man, depending on what you can get for that pick, you got to at least consider it, man. And you talked about Jaden Daniels being overhyped. I think a big reason is because of this team right here. All right. Jim Harbaugh has been the biggest advocate for McCarthy. And obviously he was his head coach last year at Michigan. But I mean, The Chargers are pushing for those first 4 picks to be quarterbacks because then that leaves them with basically the number 1 pick in the draft. Okay. Now, like I said, Vikings, obvious choice. I think the Broncos are another one because they don't have a quarterback either. I mean, I think Jarrett Stidham right now would be their top guy. Then you got the Las Vegas Raiders, who obviously they have Aiden O'Connell from last year. If you were impressed by that, okay. And also Antonio Pierce has a strong relationship with Jaden Daniels. He coached him when he was younger. So I think that they're going to also be looking to make a trade up. It's gonna really just be an arms race of who's willing to give up the most, because we know the Cardinals aren't taking a quarterback. We know the Chargers aren't taking a quarterback. The Giants also have been sounding extremely interested in a quarterback. And that's a move. If I was the Cardinals, that's a move I'd consider, because then, listen, even if you miss on Marvin Harrison Jr., you still got Malik Neighbors right there, who's a great prospect, and you're not going too far down. That's kind of the problem with the Vikings and the Broncos. If you trade down there, or the Raiders, you are getting a haul, because that is a far drop. But if you just want to pick up a few extra picks, because then you know that person's taking a quarterback right there with the Giants if they're trading up there, because the only reason they're trading is not to hop the Chargers, it's to avoid these guys trading up. So, which could also drive the price up. So who knows? It's going to be crazy, the drafts or the trade talks that are going to be coming through there. And then, so those are the teams that I have for quarterback. So before we even go, because I got a few other teams that I could see trading, a couple other teams I could see trading up, but those are the guys that I could see moving specifically for a quarterback. And the Vikings have 2 first-round picks this year, so that's going to help them a lot in trying to make that move up. What do you think about those teams moving up for quarterbacks? And also, is there anybody else that I'm leaving out?
No, I think you pretty much hit everybody, but it's just gonna be curious because the Commanders are gonna be wanting a quarterback, so the whole Jaden Daniels and Raiders thing, I don't think that's gonna come to fruition. I think that he's gonna be gone, because I do think Jaden Daniels will be drafted 2nd overall for sure. I think he's valued as the 2nd best QB in the draft. So I think it'll go Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and then I don't know, man. There's a lot of teams that could, or not a lot of teams, but those. I feel like you mentioned all of them. What other dark horse team would go for one? You know what I mean? The Falcons wouldn't try and trade up to get the Kirk Cousins successor. You know what I mean? Early, if they want to have him sit, copy Green Bay or whatever. I don't know, man. There's a lot of scenarios that GMs could go over. But yeah, I feel like there's just those handful of teams. They've already pretty much made themselves known. And I think draft day, the actual day of it, there might be 2 trades for quarterbacks, maybe. But I feel like teams ask for, like you said, for a whole lot, man. I'm sorry, but if I'm the Arizona GM, I'm not letting go of Marvin Harrison Jr. for some, I'll just draft that. I'll just take that pick. You know what I mean? I'm not letting go of that. I'm sorry, but if you tell me I can pair Kyler Murray with Marvin Harrison, dude, you're going to have to really fucking impress me to get me to get off that. I don't know. If I'm Arizona, what are you doing if you get off that pick and actually trade back? I don't know. It better be really worth it, dog. You better hit on those other ones then. You're passing up on a possible, the guy's dad is a Hall of Famer. You don't, and he already looks like a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Come on. Yeah.
I agree. It is tough. And that's why I think that the Giants are a really good team to look at trading back. I know you could lose Marvin Harrison Jr. because the Chargers really need a receiver, but they actually need more than one receiver. So you never know. The Chargers might trade back too. If you're Arizona, you trade back to 6, Giants take a quarterback. Los Angeles Chargers are next up. Okay, now the Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, whoever is still bidding, then maybe they trade, and then you still get your guy. So it's a little risky, but when you're the Cardinals, they're at the beginning of their rebuild, so they really need some pieces in place. So I think you could justify it either way. Obviously, you don't want to miss out on a great prospect, but also when you got that many holes, sometimes you need to fill more than one. If I was going to pick a team that is a dark horse to trade up for a quarterback, I would pick the Seahawks, just because obviously Geno is older, and he's okay. He's a bridge guy, but he's nobody crazy. He's not somebody that you're expecting to win a Super Bowl with, I don't think. Same with Derek Carr, but the New Orleans Saints, they ain't got shit to trade to get up there, okay? They might have some first-round picks, but they ain't got no fucking money. So it ain't even no point. You guys are screwed for years. I have no idea. The Saints are going to be average for so long because of the way that they screwed themselves in that cap situation. But one more thing before we move away from the quarterbacks. Obviously, all 3 at the top, the Bears, the Commanders, the Patriots, all expected to take quarterbacks. I think pretty much everybody and their mom expects that. Is there any possibility, obviously the Bears ain't doing it, but any possibility that the Commanders or the Patriots actually decide, you know what? Fuck these quarterbacks. Give me the haul. Is there any chance that happens with one of those two teams?
Man, I feel like the Patriots could accept a deal. I don't think the Commanders will at all. I think that you take Caleb and you take Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just going to happen. I don't feel like there's really much of a scenario where the Commanders get out of that pick. But I could see the Patriots being like, you know what? Screw it. Like, we'll go for Shedeur next year. Or, you know what I mean? Like, because, I mean, they have Jacoby. They're familiar with him. It's like one of those guys that they're like, it's like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, you don't want him to be starting the whole year, but it's like, oh, well, he'll do. Yeah, so I think being that's a first-year head coach, they might just say, screw it, let's just like let you learn more this year in the role, and then next year we'll go for your guy or type of deal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It depends what they say in their meetings, but I can see the Patriots being the most likely to back out of that pick and let someone else, you know, like the Vikings. Like if they get a huge haul from the Vikings for that pick, I can see them getting out of that for sure.
Yeah, that's funny because that's exactly what I was going to say. The Patriots, I think it's still unlikely, but if there was a team, I think that they are the most likely out of those because their team is shot. Like they have so many holes. Like, oh my God, whoever gets drafted to New England, bless your heart. Okay. Because it is going to be a long road ahead. I wouldn't even start him if I was the Patriots because I wouldn't want to ruin him with this shit roster we just surrounded him with. Okay. There's just nobody there. The defense is okay, but the offense, no, it's not gonna work. And especially if your choices are Drake May and JJ McCarthy, I don't think that that's necessarily the best options for them. And it doesn't sound like they're decided because there's a lot of reports coming out that there is a guy in the front office. I forget the name that they said. He's somebody that pulls a lot of strings for them because obviously they don't have like a set GM there. But that is really pushing hard for McCarthy over Drake May. So that should be interesting. But just to touch on a couple other for draft possibility trades, just a couple other ones that I could see happening. I could actually see the Jaguars getting aggressive this draft, and I could see them trading up at that 8, 9, 10 spot if one of those top 3 receivers are still there. I mean, we know Marvin Harrison is not going to be there. Neighbors has had a little bit of like draft noise. I don't even think there's anything to it, but just we don't know if he's going to, be able to perform in a big market because so many distractions, which I hate when people say things like that because it's just stupid. It's just like, bro, you could say that about any prospect. They're about to be an NFL player with like a fully guaranteed rookie deal of like 20 mil as a top 10 pick. Like, yeah, there's always that risk. Okay. So I just think that's ridiculous. But between Neighbors and Roma Dunze, I think Jaguars would be willing to make a move if the price is right, especially because of what the moves people have made in the division, like Diggs going to Houston, like so aggressive, and L'Jarius Sneed going to Tennessee making the aggressive offer to Ridley to pull him away. And if you add a true number 1 from the draft onto the Jacksonville Jaguars and you look at that receiving core, it really would complete it because listen, Christian Kirk, best slot receiver in the game. He can play the outside, but he's the best at the slot. Gabe Davis, a really good number 2. Really good number 2. Zay Jones, I mean, he's okay. He's had a good year for us. He had an injured year for us. He's been all right. But you could definitely improve that Zay Jones as your third receiver because those all three together with Ingram, it's okay. It's all right. It's not terrible, but it's just you don't have a true one there. If you add Roma Dunze, which would be the most likely, that would truly solidify that. And then there have also been some rumors that the Indianapolis Colts might trade up to get Brock Bowers. I don't really see it. Them or the Seahawks, I don't really see it just because there's been a lot of mocks with him going like after 17. And to be honest with you, I don't want him to because if he's there at 17 and the Jags are still there, like we don't need a tight end, but that is a tough pass to me. Brock Bowers is somebody that was talked about as a top 5 pick at one point, and he is a true talent. I feel like teams have been a little hesitant because of like the past guys that have gotten picked really early. Like you look at TJ at Hawkinson, who's been good, but like, was he worth the 7th overall pick? Kyle Pitts, he's been not that great, but we don't really know if that's his fault or if that was just Arthur Smith. We'll find out this year because I'm telling you right now, with Kirk Cousins over there, he's not going to limit him. But let me ask you this: with this Brock Bowers dilemma, what would you do? Where do you think he deserves to go on this list?
Deserves to go. I'd say he's a top 10 player for sure, and I think that the Jets make the most sense. Where do the Jets pick again? I can't see.
10. They're 10.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that's as late as he should go. Because like you could argue that. I mean, I don't know because if the Chargers still plan on doing something to get a number 1 wide receiver, I don't know. But like if they did, like if the Chargers wanted to go Brock Bowers, I wouldn't really beat him up over it. Because it's just I mean, to have like because your hope as a GM is that, hey, this guy's going to be Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, that type of level of dude on the field. And Dalton Kincaid had a good rookie year, proved that rookie tight ends can be utilized and useful. So I mean, yeah, if he is there in the top 10, I think any team makes sense. But outside of that, if he gets after the top 10, man, like he's a value then to me, no matter when he goes. Because a stable guy who can catch the ball and do something with it after the catch is your tight end. Yeah, I'll take that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Jets are probably going to go offensive line if I was going to guess. But yeah, he's definitely deserving to be above a top 20 pick, which is just crazy. And we'll see how it falls. We're going to look at one last thing here, which is just a quick little mock draft. And I just realized, man, I messed this stream up because I didn't hit my Twitter on it. And that's why we don't have any viewers, because Twitter loves us and everybody else hates us. So that is my bad, Knipe. That is 100% my bad. I was wondering why. And then I looked in the corner and I saw the Twitter one wasn't selected. So that's on me. That's on me, guys. I'm sorry for the nobody watching. But we will just take a quick look if I can freaking find it. There we go. The mock draft right here. Daniel Jeremiah's. All right. Let's just take a look here. All right, he's got Caleb Williams going 1. Drake May. Don't know why he's going Drake May here, especially with them getting Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator. I just feel like Cliff Kingsbury always gets a mobile quarterback, so it doesn't really make too much sense. Got Minnesota being the lucky winners to trade up a 4, get JJ McCarthy there. Ooh, the Jets. That's spicy right there. The Jets, Marvin Harrison Jr. Whew, that'd be nasty.
What?
Malik Neighbor. I mean, I think, and yeah, that'd be stupid for the Cardinals to go to 10. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you get. But that's tough. That's tough right there. They got the Jets staying put at 6 and taking Malik Neighbors. I think this makes a lot of sense if they don't end up taking a quarterback, because they need some kind of help for Daniel Jones, because that ain't gonna work. Joe Alt is basically a lock to go to the Tennessee Titans. I can tell you that right now, because that offensive line is terrible over there in Tennessee, okay? And they've addressed a lot of needs that they have, but that offensive line, even with Joe Alt, probably still going to be terrible unless they hit on some later draft picks. Atlanta Falcons taking Dallas Turner. I'm never really going to doubt somebody taking an edge rusher. I mean, that's like the quarterback of the defense at this point. Like, it doesn't matter if you got 2 starters on the edge. You can still justify taking a first-round edge player just because of how awesome it is when you get that beast rotation. Rome Odunze to the Bears. That makes a lot of sense. This has been like the most mocked player in that position, other than the Bears trading out of the spot. But I just can't even imagine, man. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Caleb Williams. Not to mention the tight end. I'm blanking on his name, but he's pretty good.
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Cole Kmet. I mean, that is a squad. Okay, that is a squad. So kind of excited to see that. This one makes no sense to me right here. The Chargers taking Talise Fage. I don't know how to say his name. He's been a top popular pick to go at the top of the draft, and a lot of people think that he's going to be good. But when I look at their depth chart, man, I mean, it seems like they've got tackle down. I mean, it really does. They have Ronnie Stanley, who has been an absolute dog. Or I'm sorry, not Ronnie Stanley. Rashawn Slater, who has been a beast for them. And I'm sorry, it actually looks like they lost their other tackle. I'm not sure who it was, but I know that they had somebody. It looks like they might have lost somebody. So maybe that does make a little bit of sense. But I'm still not rolling with it because, listen, this is a team that got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And what? We're just going to be like, fuck receiver? I mean, they're taking a receiver. That's just point blank period. If there's no receiver to take here, they'll trade back again. That's just my opinion. But I don't even see them trading back. I just think they're just going to take one right there at 5. They got the Arizona Cardinals taking Jared Verse back here. Verse is a great player. He's somebody that has really gone down. I'm surprised with him being an edge player. Denver Broncos, Brock Bowers, maybe. I mean, maybe. I'm not really buying it just because they need a freaking quarterback. I think they're taking a quarterback right there, even if they don't move up. Vegas taking Penix Jr. here. Okay. And I'm just going to slide over here. Jags taking Terrion Arnold. We're going to stop right there. We'll look at the other half of a mock draft next week, but we're going to stop right there for that one. And then before we get out of here, okay, that's it for the draft talk. Just covering like the first little half or whatever. And we'll take a look at the back end of the first round. We're not getting any deeper than that because, Jesus, it's too many guys for that kind of shit, all right? But listen, just something that came out recently that basically tells you all you need to know about Bill Belichick still being the GOAT, all right? We're just going to share the screen again for this video. I have so many tabs, man, so many tabs. But let's just take a look at what Matt Rule had to say about a recent visit from Bill Belichick at Nebraska.
He is so smart, has seen so much that he can make the complex so simple that it humbles you and embarrasses you. I was embarrassed yesterday listening to him, how smart he is, how simple it was. He went, he went 4.5 hours with the coaching. Forget the clinic. Like, he came in and met with our coaching staff. And 3.5 hours in, I was like, Coach, would you like a water, a cup of coffee? Would you like to use the restroom? Because I desperately had to use the restroom, And he's like, I'm fine, Matt. I was like, yes, sir. And just sitting there and just talking, right? And just his recall from things 15 years ago. And, the only reason why we don't get through more information is because he's having to slow down to make sure you understand what he's saying. I mean, so you have this man who's a savant, right? Who's been a defensive coordinator. He's been a special teams coordinator. He's coached, he could be an offensive coordinator. He's been a head coach twice. He's been a GM person. I mean, he's talking about football in a way that just illuminates things and makes things so simple that you're like, oh my goodness.
I thought that was so interesting to hear Matt Rule say that because, look, I know Matt Rule lost his job in Carolina. I mean, nobody has been able to work out in Carolina, okay, with what they got going on over there. But to say, I was embarrassed because this motherfucker knows so much more than I know. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. That is just the most respectful thing you can say about somebody. So I don't know what all these other teams are smoking, but you should have called Bill Belichick, okay? Because the guy is still great. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the last few years were like in New England. My man is a genius when it comes to football. So we will wrap the show there. Nobody watched because I fucked up and didn't put this on Twitter. So that's on me. That's on me, okay? That's on me. But we'll be back on Twitter next week. I'll see if I can throw this on there. I'm pretty sure I can't, though, because Twitter is limited to how long of a video you can upload. And with this being a whole episode, I would have had to live stream it. I just seriously couldn't believe it. I was like, why don't we have anybody watching? There's always somebody watching, and just messed it up. I messed it up. So for the nobody that was here, hey, it was fun. We had a good time hanging out with ourselves. Tonight, I appreciate you, buddy. This is our first draft episode. We'll have one more before the draft hits, and then we'll just see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens from there. So we're going to get out of here. Everybody had a great rest of your weekend. Peace.